Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you two pussy bow blouse maternity dresses that I recently made. And today's dresses are very much a continuation of the black polka dot dress that I shared with you in my last video, video 88. So what happened was originally I wasn't planning on making more maternity dresses after that black polka dot one, except for just one more. But then I got so many compliments every time I wore that black polka dot dress. And so I really felt encouraged. And also, I realized that I needed something for transition postpartum because it's not like I would just magically lose all the weight and get back to my pre-pregnancy shape as soon as the baby's born. So I definitely needed something. And because I love that black polka dot dress so much, I decided to make originally one more. Then I decided to make another one. So those are the two dresses that I will share with you today. Before we get into the dresses for today, I thought I would give you a quick update on my pregnancy. So now I am a little, just past 32 weeks at this point now, and I am really surprised how much the belly grew, even since the time when I shot my last video, which was about 6 weeks ago, and it really grew so much. And I also felt it because now it is, it really feels quite heavy. And so I have to kind of get myself used to, this extra volume, in my belly area. And also it becomes a little hard to sleep now just because, all this volume is, it's just not conducive to a good night's sleep. And I remember when I was 23 weeks pregnant, I just happened to be talking to, in the waiting room for the baby scan. I happened to be talking to a woman who was 34 weeks pregnant at that time. And so I asked her, I said, I'm finding it so difficult to sleep, with this belly, and how did she manage? And she told me, no, she didn't manage anything. She just didn't really sleep much at all. And I was like, okay, thanks for the warning. But that was kind of funny. And also the OB at the hospital where I have the baby scans, it was interesting when I saw her, I think last week, and she asked me how my pregnancy experience has been. And she said, don't feel like you need to sugarcoat it. I said, no, I'm not going to. And I told her it has been a very challenging experience. I had no glow. I just felt generally sick, either sick or very tired, or very high level of discomfort overall. But I do say though, even though physically I feel kind of lousy, mentally I have been upbeat. 99% of the time. I have not. Luckily, I did not suffer from any kind of hormonal mood swings. And so that has been a huge plus for me. And also, I did not suffer from what people call the baby brains, in the sense that, you kind of feel impact your sort of brain. And since my work as a lawyer requires my brain to function at a high level, so I'm very happy that I did not suffer from this baby brain situation. And so overall, despite the physical discomfort, I am very grateful that I am perfectly healthy and the baby's perfectly healthy, even though she's on the big side. The first dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from 2.5 yards of about 57-inch wide rayon fabric that I purchased from moonfabrics.com a little over 2 years ago. And so here's a close-up look of the print itself. As you can see, it's a sort of a navy background with various animal print, some leopard and let me see, and some birds, and sort of in a tropical setting. So I really love it. The reason for choosing this fabric is that I was looking at the past Onella pussy bow blouses that I have made. So I have made 3 pre-pregnancy, and they are in the sort of red, and one is a dark brown, and one is sort of white base with tropical leafy print, and plus the one I made in the last video with a black background and white polka dots. And so I was looking at these 4 dresses and then decided, okay, I did not have anything in navy blue, and since I have this suitable fabric, I decided to make this one, so that there will not be too much of a repetition in my Onella pussy bow blouse dress sort of a wardrobe. And even though I was overall quite happy with the fit from the black polka dot dress from my last video, there were definitely room for improvement, and so I made those changes for this version. Number 1 was I raised the neckline by about 3/4 of an inch. The original Onella pussy bow blouse, which I will link in the description box below, is a free pattern from Sewciety, and I previously made that blouse and blouse dresses a gazillion times. But the original neckline was quite low, so for my last version, the black polka dot one, I already raised it by I think an inch or maybe an inch and a quarter, but it was still a bit too low for my liking. So for this version, I raised it by 3/4 of an inch. And how you raise a V-neck, it just simply, I just kind of tapered in a bit, just like the neckline like this. And it would not really affect the construction because the pussy bow tie and the neck, so the collar piece, would just be installed or sewn down exactly the same way, so that would not affect anything. So that's number 1. And number 2, the original, the one from my last video, I just cut out a straight size, I think 6, the 3rd smallest one from the pattern. And I feel like just too much volume right here, just sort of under the arm side, because I'm not expecting my upper torso to really expand now. And so there was just too much fabric. So I took the side seams in by about 1/4 of an inch. And so because there are two front pieces and 2 sides in the back, so that the total reduction for the circumference is 2 inches. So that's number 2. And number 3 is the armhole from the original Onella pussy bow blouse was a bit too low for my liking. And the problem I have with lower sort of armhole is that if you lift it up, the entire dress will move with it. And so I wanted to raise the armhole a bit. So I raised the armhole by 1/2 inch. And when you raise the armhole, that also makes the armhole circumference smaller. And so I also made corresponding changes to the sleeve pieces. So, for a sleeve, it looks like this. And so I just took out 1/2 inch on either side of the sleeve piece. So now the sleeves for this version is a bit more, is less roomy, but still plenty, roomy for me. It just wasn't as big as the black polka dot version. And so those are the changes that I made. Oh, plus one more. Originally, in my last video, I mentioned that to accommodate for my pregnancy belly, the front dress piece is about 2 inches longer than the back dress piece. And this is compared with pre-pregnancy dresses for me, when the pre-pregnancy front dress piece will only be about half an inch to an inch longer than the back piece. And I decided, okay, I didn't feel like I wanted to save myself the extra step of going back and change the hem of the dress, after I had the baby. So for this version, I just, the front dress piece is 1 inch longer than the back dress piece. And so now it seems a little on the short side, but I'm not, but it doesn't bother me because then I wouldn't have to go back and change it. And so that's the last change that I made for this version. And about the fabric usage, the last time I started with 3 yards of about 57-inch wide fabric. But then, as I mentioned in my last video, it was just frumpy. Originally was just too long. So I shortened it to above the knee. And so in this case, because this case I already knew I would, the dress would be at a certain length. And I was able to fit all the pattern pieces on this 2.5 yards of 57-inch wide fabric from Moon. However, there's a caveat though, because like the stores in New York City's garment district, as far as I know, they always give you extra, few inches on either side. So my estimate is that this piece of fabric is 2.5 yards plus maybe 6 or 7 inches long. So it's technically a little more than 2.5 yards, even though I only pay for 2.5 yards. So that's that. I lined this dress with about also 2.5 yards of also rayon viscose fabric that I purchased from Moon. And the reason for using this fabric as my lining was that I bought this fabric online, and all sales from Moon are final. And when I got it home, when I received it home, I just somehow was not thrilled about the print, even though it looks exactly like on my iPad, so I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, when I got it at home, I just didn't love it. And after 2 years, and a few months, I still haven't found a use for this lining fabric. And so when I decided to use this sort of a animal print for the exterior, I decided, okay, the other sort of daisy print, also in navy blue, should work well. And that would just be my lining fabric. And it works out incredibly well because the textures for the two fabric pieces are a little different. The exterior, I'm not sure you can see, but it's not, even though it's technically not a crepe, but the texture, there is a very minor texture to this fabric versus the lining fabric feels to me like a typical rayon challis, and it's perfectly smooth. And so in a way it works especially well as a lining fabric. And so I'm very happy about how it works out. So here is a quick video of this navy blue pussy bow blouse maternity dress. And I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch heels in black. And so I'm really happy about this ensemble. And as you can see, this dress is a bit shorter than the black polka dot dress from my last video. And the reason is really because my belly has grown, so it, in a way, has lifted up the front of the dress a bit. So that's number one. And number two, obviously, in my third trimester, I don't really walk around in such high heels. Instead, normally I wear this other one here that is about 1.5 inch in the heel height, and is a block heel. So it's very secure when I wear this other pair. And because, regardless, safety must come first. The second dress that I will share with you today is this one here. made from 2.5 yards of rayon fabric that I purchased from fabric.com quite a while ago. I think probably 2.5 years ago. And so here's a close-up look of the color and the print. As you can see, it's sort of like a coral red background with a very large scale leafy print and also floral print as well. And I just thought it was so pretty. And in a way, this dress is a little similar to the dress that I made in my video 46, the one made in South Georgette with white base and very large scale leafy print. In a way, the concept's the same, except that the base color is different. So the reason for choosing this fabric is that after making up that navy blue one, I wanted to make another one with a brighter color. And so I was looking around in my stash, and I didn't really have anything sort of a bright red, which would have been nice, but I didn't have anything suitable in that color. And so I thought this one will work very well. And because I also have plenty of this fabric, I originally bought 4 yards of this. And so I said, okay, so let me use 2.5 yards for this dress. And the remaining portion, 1.5 yards, will still be enough to allow me to make a top from this fabric. For this coral red version, I made no further changes from the navy blue one because I was already very happy with how the navy blue one fits. So I made no further changes. And one thing I'm really happy about this dress is the buttons actually. So here, let me stand a bit closer. So as you can see, these are sort of red buttons and they're a bit thicker. And these buttons, they actually have a bit of an orangey tint. And so I thought it would be perfect for this dress. So I'm really happy how it turned out. And one thing about using chunkier buttons is that I did have to enlarge the buttonholes a bit. I used my brother's sewing machine for the buttonholes, and normally I just use the sort of the gauge that comes with that attachment to determine, so the machine will automatically decide the size of the buttonholes for me. However, I have noticed that when the buttons are thicker, I need to enlarge it. So I just enlarge it ever so slightly. I think about 3 clicks on this attachment, the buttonhole foot attachment. So I'm not sure exactly how much bigger it is, but I just if you would just test it out on this scrap piece of fabric, then you will be able to gauge exactly whether the size was correct or not. So I'm really happy about how the buttons work out. And for this dress, there are 11 buttons in the front and 4 buttons, here you go, on either cuff. So total there are 15 buttons. So it's a little bit of work, but I don't mind it at all. And because as long as the end result is good, I think it's worth it. One funny thing about this dress is that I also recently wore this dress to the OB appointment with my regular OBGYN office. So this is not the same, not the OB at the hospital. And I've seen her wearing the black polka dot dress, the navy blue animal print dress that I just shared with you earlier, and also this one. As you can see, they're all the same dress, just in different fabrics. And she complimented me. She said she just loved my dresses. They are so pretty and I look so pretty. And obviously I thanked her, but I don't tell people I make my own clothes. And And so, but then she never noticed that they were the same dress, just in different fabrics. And also, that has also been my experience with just about everybody else too. In the sense that if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I tend to make several versions of the same dress, just in different fabrics. And so far, over the almost 4 years that I have been making my own clothes, not one person has ever mentioned to me that, oh, isn't that the same dress as, say last week, just a different fabric. So as you can see, there is no danger of people really noticing it. So don't be afraid to make different versions of the same garment, if that's what you feel like. So I just thought it was interesting, and so that I would share with you this story. So here is a quick video of this coral red pussy bow blouse maternity dress, and I paired the dress with a pair of 3.5-inch heels in mahogany. And just like before, this is only for this video, as generally I do wear the other sort of 1.5-inch block-heeled shoes. So overall, I am really happy how this turned out, and the bright color really cheered me up. So even when I feel miserable, at least I look pretty decent and presentable. So that's a good thing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. And this video will be my last video for 2022. And I do have another one planned for January before baby's arrival. And also, as we are near the end of the year, which traditionally is the time for giving, and considering this year we are facing a 40-year high inflation and also very, very high energy cost. So I would like to implore you to consider increasing your donation for this year. I personally, just as an example, personally this year I doubled my donation to a local Connecticut food bank, just because you hear a news report that a lot of people have to choose between skipping a meal or to pay for their heating bills, and I don't find anybody should have to make that choice. So obviously I would like to do my part, and so I do double my monthly donation to a local bank, hopefully to make life just a little easier for even if it's just for one family, that would be worth it. And to help you evaluate whether a charity spends its money consistent with your understanding, previously last year in my video 69, I shared with you a couple ways to determine that. And so if that is something of interest to you, so please do check it out. So anyway, on that note, I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and I would also like to wish you and your family a very happy and very safe holiday season 2022, and I will see you in the new year. Bye bye.